Right, so we go again. Hi guys, this is episode 3. We had a huge response from episode 2 and the roundup following the NLD discussion. So thank you for the listeners. Thank you to the guests that jumped on. We're glad that you enjoyed. This week we're going to be discussing the Championship and the Premier League relegation battle. We're actually joined by Scott Norman. Scott was one of our guests on the previous Sunday roundups. He's now on a host on the show with the show 11, which is out now, so you can have a listen. How you doing, Scott, mate? You okay?
Very well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, all good, all good. Sam, I should probably ask how you are as well, mate. I was a bit rude there, wasn't I?
Yeah, but you don't really care, do you? So it's fine.
No, I don't. No, I don't. You're right. So before we go into the Championship and get the wheels in motion, how you finding this? How did you find the first episode? Obviously, I was your guest.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great idea, to be honest. I know Sam liked it as well. It can cause some debates, which we'd like to see on the show as well, but. Have you had much feedback, would you say? I mean...
Yeah, no, it's good, mate. Yeah, obviously the idea, I spoke to you guys about the idea of doing it.
Yeah.
Basically, the concept of it is that I asked the guests their favourite 11.
Yeah.
And that might not be the best 11, as in we saw with yours, you had Paul Scholes at right mid.
Yeah,
but it's their favourite. You know, like for me, my favourite striker in the Premier League is Fernando Torres, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's the best. You know what I mean?
Let's not get into that. We'll be here hours. You're on with 2 Arsenal fans, so I know we'd probably disagree. So we're going to be talking about the Championship. Obviously, Scott, as well as being one of our friends and a guest and now a host on the show, he's the biggest Watford fan we know, as you can see by the shirt he's wearing. So Watford went into the Championship last season, coincidentally against Arsenal, the team that we both support. I remember that game quite well, actually. Obviously, now they're looking on the set for automatic promotion. What do you think's brought on that success, Scott? I mean, what would you say is, because it's not an easy league to go into and then ride straight back up, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's down to the manager.
Yeah,
he's changed the system. He's changed the formation. I mean, we had Ivic beforehand. You know what we're like, mate. We go through managers like anything. But we had a bloke called Ivic who, to be fair, mate, I liked. I thought he was a good manager. But he was just very defensive. You know, we're going through games, scraping them 1-0 or getting a draw when we should have had a win. And this bloke, Xisco's come in. He's playing attacking football. You know, we've got Sarr. He's on fire, mate, at the moment.
Yeah.
All you hear about is in the Championship is Sarr, innit? And how much and they're always comparing him to someone else and everything like that. I don't know much about the bloke, obviously, but
yeah, I mean, we'll go into Sarr shortly because I was stunned to see him stay at your team. But yeah, like you said, you have gone through managers like hot dinners. I think most people know that about Watford. Anyone that doesn't know Watford will certainly know that you've had your fair share, shall we say. Obviously, so now at the moment you're looking on terms for automatic promotion. I mean, obviously with Sarr, you've got the attack. You've got Troy Deeney still there as well, which for me as an Arsenal fan, I'm quite surprised he stayed around. You've obviously got Joe Pedro. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I know what you boys are like with my pronunciation, so.
I've never met a bloke that struggles so hard to pronounce so many footballers in my life.
And I'm doing a sports podcast. This is probably like the worst.
Mate, come the end of once we're done with the season 1 of it, man, we're gonna have a whole show of just your fuck ups.
Yeah, we can do it at the end. It doesn't even need to be behind the scenes because majority of the episodes I've said something ridiculous. But yeah, are you surprised that Troy Deeney has stuck around? And would you say he's your role model, so to speak?
Well, yeah, he's club captain, legend, mate, legend of the club.
I'm obviously going to disagree with this. You know that. But yeah, it's
you can't.
Yeah, but we just like him for different reasons, don't we?
Yeah, I mean,
you can see what he's done for them.
Yeah.
Definitely. And he let you boys have it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, mate, you're sitting in 10th in the Premier League, so he wasn't wrong. You have no cojones, mate.
Okay, so he's obviously one of your favourite players. What would you say has been your favourite game for Watford this season? Is there a moment? Obviously, you've not been able to go into any games, which is a shame. But when watching on TV, which I know just by social media, you don't really miss one. Would you say there's a favourite moment or a moment that sort of boosted this season's success?
Got to be the Luton game, mate.
Yeah,
I'm got to be the Luton game.
Good, that's good. I think majority of the Stevenage watchers will be completely behind you on that.
And going back to Troy Deeney, this is why we love him, because towards the end of the game in the Luton game, our fullback Ngakia had a little bit of a tiff with the Luton boys, and Deeney just bowled over, mate, just barged into one of them, saying, "This is our turf. You don't come to our turf and mess about."
Okay, I mean, as much as I dislike the guy, fair play for that. Like I say, yeah, I'm still surprised that Luton are in the Championship, to be honest. I remember a few years back, I was going to the Stevenage Luton derbies and we were beating them. So it's quite baffling to see them, even though they're not in such a strong position. But we'll go into the strong positions. So obviously, Watford at the moment, you're second. You had some good results in your favour last night. So obviously, Swansea, they got a surprising result against Bournemouth away, which was good for Bournemouth as well because they're still not out the race. Obviously, you're up against, it was 2-2, I think, with Brentford, wasn't it, and the derby?
What's that, sorry, mate?
I think Brentford dropped points. They drew with Derby, I believe. Yep, so obviously that's sort of gone in your favour. Norwich are a long way off. I can't see you winning it now. But who would you say is the biggest threat should you go into a playoff sort of position?
Well, going back to the Norwich thing,
yeah,
I don't think we are too. I mean, they're 7 points ahead of us.
But they've won 9 games. How many have they won last?
Play. Yeah, but if you look at the table, isn't there like at the top end? Obviously, you're steamrolling it, but there's a few games that you've both lost.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Norwich are unbelievable, and the good thing about Norwich is they've kept most of their players.
Yeah.
You know, like Todd Cantwell, Pookie, Wendy.
Yeah, I think he's class. I like Todd Cantwell.
Yeah, very good player. Decent. But going back to your question, I wouldn't like to play Swansea.
Yeah,
I mean, and Brentford as well. To be fair, because with Ivan Toney up front.
Yeah, I was just about to touch up on that. That's quite incredible stats, isn't it? Over 20 goals, and I think he's got something like 14 assists already now.
Yeah.
I find that ridiculous, considering I've always said I like the Champions League. I'd love to support a team in it because the Championship, sorry. So obviously, with the Championship, it's never a three-legged race. There's always quite a few teams up there. You know what I mean? Whereas with the Premier League, it's just one winner every year. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, you look at Barnsley. They nearly got relegated last year if it weren't for Wigan going down because of the points.
Yeah.
And now they're sixth in the table.
Yeah, I think stuff like that's phenomenal. They haven't got the players either. I wouldn't be able to name you one player in Barnsley. But Ivan Toney, the way I see it, if Brentford don't come up, he'll be coming up to the Premier League at somehow or whether it's a team that come up and invest in him because they've seen his talent, or whether it's someone struggling in the league that need him because he's young, he's quick, he's quite tall as well. He's got pretty much everything you need, and the fact he's already proven he can score the goals and provide is quite exceptional. But
there was rumours that he was supposed to come to us because apparently he's good friends with Troy Deeney, but obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been interesting because he can play on the wing, but he's mainly a striker too. So you'd have had him, Pedro and Dino fighting for the odds. That would have been quite interesting.
Who's Dino?
Did I say Dino?
That's a fucking number one.
It started already.
Add that to the list.
Yeah, add that to the one. So obviously you mentioned Sarr. Were you surprised to keep him? I mean, all I can remember from him was that hat-trick against Liverpool, ending the unbeaten run. Which I think most people will mostly remember him for because everyone was so happy. Not to be a dick to Liverpool, but it was quite sensational the way they put out that performance against a team that were on such a run of form. Obviously he was already in talks once you were going relegated to sort of move on, and he ended up being the player that you kept.
Yeah, I mean, you said about the Liverpool thing. That's the only thing he did do, mate.
Yeah.
At the start, it was. I wasn't having him at all, and even start of this season, he looked like he was just walking around, not really interested. And maybe that is because I think he was going to go to Liverpool for 50 million. And maybe that's the reason. But now the new manager's come in, changed the system. He's been unbelievable, mate. And if we don't go up, well, maybe even if we do go up, there'll be a lot of clubs in for him, not just in the Premier League, but abroad as well.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on this in a previous episode, how there's so much left wings that are just phenomenal talent. In the Premier League, especially like left wing, there always seems to be some sort of player there. It's probably a good job he didn't go to Liverpool in terms of what's happening at the moment. Obviously, they brought in Jota as well, so he wouldn't have probably got the game time that he gets at Watford. And obviously, like you said, he's been one of your best players this season. And last year, you had a bit of a different opinion on him. So we'll sort of work down the table, shall we say? Obviously, you mentioned Barnsley while we were speaking just before. So they're now 6th, I believe, in the table. Yeah. Obviously, with the potential to come up, which could have been down. What surprises me is when you look at that top 10, there's quite a lot of teams that you'd usually expect in there, wouldn't you say? That are not. For example, Derby, we touched on the result against Brentford yesterday. Yeah. Wayne Rooney's come in as the manager. They're not fighting for survival, but they're probably not in the position where you'd expect because they've got quite a lot of players in that squad.
Yeah, they had an absolute shocker at the start of the season. And like you said, Wayne Rooney's come in and kind of steadied the ship a bit. I mean, I don't really know too many of their players, if I'm perfectly honest. I know they've got a few. I mean, I don't think that Tom Lawrence plays. I know he plays for them, but I don't know if he's out injured. But he used to be one of the star men. But obviously, under Frank Lampard, he had a great team there at Derby, didn't he?
Yeah, they were profitable.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a surprise. Like Huddersfield, Derby, Notts Forest, they're all in that sort of bottom 10. And from what I know in the Championship, that's just a surprise to me. Maybe it's because Huddersfield were in the Premier League a few seasons ago and they've lost a lot of players. I don't know. I tend to more focus on sort of the top 8 of the league. But so you think Watford can do it?
Yes, mate. I'm going to say right now, Watford will be in the Premier League next year. But I don't think we've got the squad to be in the Premier League just yet. If we go up...
that was my next question. Are you going to come straight back down?
I'd like to think not, mate. But, yeah, with the squad at the moment, there's a few players that you could have in there. But it seems like we've got players at the moment just to get us out of the Championship.
Yeah, you need to go up a level, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is with that as well is that, like, you could say that about the squad, but look at Norwich. They haven't really brought in anyone spectacular, and they seem to be going straight back up.
Yeah, but they were rubbish. They were rubbish in the Premier League, weren't they?
They were so poor. Like we were talking earlier.
They started off well. They started off well in the Premier League, and then the rest of the season they were just awful. So maybe they're like us as well in the fact that most of their players, apart from your Todd Cantwells, that they're Championship players, and that's why they're doing so well. Because I always go back to Dwight Gale for Newcastle.
Oh yeah.
Whenever he's in the Championship, he absolutely just bags goals for fun.
Where is he now? I remember he was at Palace.
He's at Newcastle.
He's still there.
But he doesnn't score in the Prem.
You don't get games.
Well, yeah, I mean, on the wing, Newcastle are quite comfortable. I mean, we're going to go into the relegation in a minute, so that will be one of our discussions. So obviously, who goes down hopefully won't affect you because you look like you're set for it. I personally think you could do better than some of the teams that have come up last season and gone through this season. West Brom is a prime example. I'll be honest with you, I never wanted them to go up. I was rooting for Brentford last season, and I'm sort of rooting for them this season as well. One, just because they're a London side, and it's good for Arsenal to travel. It's just easy. If you always vote for the London squad over the Swansea or the Norwich. But the problem is with Brentford, they've already got rid of. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, but that player.
Please do it.
No, I'm not going to do it.
No, who is it?
That satisfaction. Ben Rama.
Yeah, he done well there. To be fair.
Yeah, that was all right.
So he's signed for them. Obviously, Toney, we've spoke about. He's going to have some sort of bids in, because when you play at a striker, when you get that sort of stats, the world's your oyster. Someone's going to come rooting in for you, and Brentford want the money.
He's got 29 goals already this season.
That's incredible.
Mm.
And you've got 9 games to go, you just said. He could easily hit the 40 mark. You've got quite a lot of hard games coming up, Watford, yourself. I saw that, like, at the end of the season, it's sort of like a will to be written, shall I say. But hopefully you get through it.
Yeah, we've got Swansea, Brentford and Norwich.
I mean, you could have it easier, I guess. But
yeah, if you beat them, then you deserve to be where you've been.
Yeah, and it will take, you have to beat the big ones to get big, if it makes sense. So
to get what?
You have to beat the big ones to get big.
All right, okay, so I just didn't know what you just said. All right, go on.
This guy, man, this is what I put up with, guys. Right, so we'll move on to the relegation. Unless there's anything you wanted to touch up on the Championship, Scotty.
No, it's all good, mate.
Good. Right, the main thing is Luton. I know we're good. I think that's basically what we all want.
Yeah, we won't talk too much about it.
No one wants to see Luton do well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could have some haters on here quite quickly.
I do think they'll be comfortable this year, though. They'll be a Championship team next year.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, when you go to their ground as well, like, to think that's the Championship ground is woeful. You imagine if they had a big season and ended up in the Premier League, they'd need to make drastic measures quickly. I mean, that's from what I remembered anyway. Like, I don't know if the ground's changed since, but whenever I used to go, you'd be sat in someone's back garden within 5 minutes of reaching the ground. It was like, I don't know. But we'll start with Sheffield United, I guess, because that's the bottom. They got rid of their manager last week, Chris Wilder.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're already down, what's
the point?
Yeah, what is the point?
It must have been him. It must have been on his terms.
Do you think?
Yeah, because I can't see, like you said, I can't see Sheffield United sacking Chris Wilder. What he's done for the club, I just can't see it. And
yeah, maybe he didn't want to be the person, that it would be on for them to have gone down. So he thought, maybe if I leave now, they might have a chance to save the season.
Yeah, or
and
maybe
get that bounce back. But
because I know that he had quite a lot of control over the club, so maybe the board have tried to say, look, you're not going to have as much power or control over the team and things like that. And maybe he said, all right, well, I'm off then.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find it, like you said, the success he had. There was a League One squad just a few seasons ago. And the fact they managed, what was it, 7th or 6th last
year? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
yeah,
it's a bit like Eddie Howe with Bournemouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Yeah, and even with that call, I was baffled. Bournemouth seemed to not be doing too badly, so I suppose it hasn't not worked out for them, but it's also not worked out for them either, because maybe that sort of success could have come under him. You never know. But with Sheffield United, do you think they're a sort of team that will go down and perhaps do a Norwich, or do you think they're destined for the Championship all along?
You ain't seen enough from them, have you, this year, to think that they've even got enough to
I just think they've not showed one bit of fight, and we'll go on to Fulham shortly. But this is exactly why I think certain teams deserve to survive and some don't, because I think Sheffield United have not had a good result to be like, oh yeah, you've done well, you've had a good game.
Yeah. I think if they went down with Chris Wilder, I think they'd come back up.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Have they named a new manager or anything? Who they got? They've got a caretaker. What they got?
Be a caretaker manager for the rest of the season. They're already down. Yeah. There's no point in them signing someone and paying all that money off.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
When you're gonna have to give someone a contract. They'll need all the money they can get next season. So I imagine they'll just stick with someone from below. Like, they'll just promote someone for a little bit. It's a shame, but I can't think. Can you think of any players in that team that you'd take out? Sheffield United.
If they went down to the Championship?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much.
When they?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't actually think so.
Because I know they bought two.
Squad.
Yeah, they bought 2 fullbacks from the Championship. Funny enough. Jamal Lowe and I can't remember the other one on the right.
Right.
But that just says, I think when you aim for Championship players, it's a bit of a risk all the time, because you're not improving your squad. You're adapting with potential and hoping for them to be players in 3 years' time.
Yeah, unless they're the right ones, like Aston Villa.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It has to pay off. And you need quality around them as well. You can't just rely on the new signings. Not if they haven't got the experience of the Premier League. We'll go on to West Brom. Do you think they're a circ down now as well, or would you?
Boring, mate. Boring.
They are woeful.
Boring. I mean, there's only one player that I like in that team, and that's Conor Gallagher, and he's on loan from Chelsea.
And Maitland-Niles.
Nah.
Sauce.
Then if you, like I said on the previous, the only good thing about Maitland-Niles is he can take a penalty.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, he's not going to take many for them, are they? They're not going to any important ones anyway.
To be fair, they do have a few good players, like Sam Johnson in goal for him's a good player. Obviously, Conor Gallagher is a good player.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned about goalkeeper actually, because that's probably the one player I think Ramsdale for Sheffield United. If he was in a better squad, I think he'd do well. He's quite young as well. I don't think he's like Premier League level, but I think if Sheffield United stay another season in the Championship, maybe he'll have to think about bigger things. Because I don't know, it's quite hard to judge keepers, I guess, when they're performing so badly. You can only make so many saves. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously they signed that Sander Berge years ago. He's the only person that sort of came out of their squad that's worth above 20 million. Then they spent enough.
I think he'll be one to definitely go if they go down.
Yeah, he'll have to, because he's got that sort of experience as well.
Yeah, he wants as well, man.
He'll probably just go back to Germany, I imagine, because he's not really delivered as such in the Premier League. But he was spent quite a lot of money on, so at least they can think, all right, we'll get money for him and improve the squad. But yeah, on West Brom, Matheus Pereira maybe is probably the only player I'd say. But he's only really shown in the Championship that he can deliver, because in the Premier League
they've brought that new striker in. I can't remember his name now, but he seems all right. But the goals are just not coming for him.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, like I said, this is what we touched up on the other day, that basically if you're playing in a bad team, you can only be expected so much of you. Obviously, with West Brom, if you're a good player, you're not going to stand out. They're not scoring goals.
It's a bit like Saka playing in an Arsenal squad.
Steady.
Easy. This is Championship and relegation. We're no longer a relegation team.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of months ago, we could have put us in there.
So obviously, in third place of relegation at the moment, it's still quite tidy. Sam obviously believes that Fulham are going to be the ones to go down. I disagree. I think you disagree as well, right, Scott?
So you're saying, right? Let me jump in quickly because I feel passionate about this. So you think Newcastle will go down ahead of them?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Right. Why?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think Fulham have just shown more as well. Newcastle have been another boring season for them.
Yeah, but that's what they do, isn't it?
I'm fed up with them. I don't know how Steve Bruce has managed to keep them in it.
As well, Newcastle have been hit with injuries. Callum Wilson's gone. St. Maximin's gone. Almirom's gone.
Yeah, they've got quite a lot of talent in Newcastle. Though. Joe Willock, don't forget about Joe Willock.
Big Joe.
Yeah.
Big Joe, he'll save them. That's all they need. Joe Willock.
I don't think they'll have enough.
So you think Newcastle are going down? Sam, explain the reasons why you want Fulham to go down. I'm intrigued. I know we said this on Sunday. You brought it up on the roundup when we were talking about the results.
They're just shit, aren't they? I'm sorry, but everyone, they've done nothing. And at the end of the day, they've got an ex-Tottenham player as their manager, so that's even more reason to fucking hate them.
They're not conceding goals though.
They're not. Yeah, they're not winning games.
Yeah,
but I mean, which is a lot more than Newcastle are.
Right, so it'd be interesting to check the remaining fixture list because I haven't looked into this. At shock, I haven't done any homework, as you know. But how many of the bottom 4 or 5 have to play each other? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? I think the last game of the season, I could be wrong. I believe it is Fulham versus Newcastle.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, right, yeah.
Scott's right. I don't know if that will happen. I reckon it will be sussed by then.
But they're saying they may have crowds in on that last game of the season. So I think Newcastle are a bit annoyed because obviously Fulham will have the home advantage.
Well, Brighton are still in the race, and we've got Brighton at home last day.
Yeah.
Brighton will be all right, I think.
We won't have anything to play for, I don't think. So I like Brighton as a squad, which is the next team that's sort of in that sort of pile of relegation battle. I like them. I think they've got they've started to perform well. I think their striker Malpay, have I got that right? Don't know.
Okay.
There's another one to the list.
Another one.
I think he's sort of not been as impressive as what sometimes he's shown when he scores goals. He's their top scorer, but you know, he scored 6 or 7. It's not amazing in the league. The Lana finally got his first goal the other week, which I was pleased for. And then they've obviously got some good wingers. They've got that Trossard. I definitely got that one right before you say anything.
I think it's Trossard.
It's Trossard, mate.
Oh, mate, you're having a mess.
Oh, wow.
Why don't, right, a little tip for you. You can cut this out if you want, but you should go to Google Translate and translate into your native language of English. And they actually tell you how to say it.
Right, I'll do that. I'm going to use Google Translate.
What do you boys think of Southampton? Because they're having a. I
find it quite amazing that they've lost 9-0 twice this season, and they've somehow still, you know, they're not safe as hell.
Well, who was it to? It was United and
Leicester.
Leicester
was the more recent. United was the recent one. Leicester was like beginning of this season. I'm pretty confident it was this season anyway.
I thought it was the other season. I thought it was a couple of seasons ago, wasn't it?
I'm gonna have to check. I might be wrong. I'm gonna have to check up on it now. I don't know. The season got delayed. It might be because the season got delayed, didn't it?
This season felt like it's gone on forever, didn't it? Let's be real.
Yeah, because last season ended quite late. I think that's why it felt like this season. I could be wrong, but still, they lost 9-0 to United. Obviously, they've not had the best of season anyway. They've had Danny Ings out quite a lot. He's out again. Che Adams has started scoring for them, which is good. They've got
Che Adams.
Yeah, they've got Minamino. I'm a big fan of him, to be honest.
How the fuck can you get that one right?
Southampton were right up there though at the start of the season, weren't they? Top of the league, and then I don't know what's happened there, but
this is probably the only reason why I'm still so invested in the Premier League is because anything can happen. Obviously, like look at West Ham. Yeah. West Ham were in the top 4. Now everyone's saying, it's not happening now. Everton were top of the league at one point. Now they're saying,
how could Everton started? Remember?
Yeah. But it that's the way it happens. You don't know what's going to happen. That's why we've top the bottom. You know, the bottom 3. Obviously, the bottom 2 are pretty much. It might be
for another discussion, but maybe you should give us your bottom 3 and your top 3, and we'll come back to it at the end of the season.
I already know my bottom.
I'll go. Yeah, Sheffield United, West Brom, Fulham. Top 3.
No, you wanted Newcastle to go down.
Well, who did I say?
You said Fulham.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, Newcastle, not Fulham. And then top 3, Man City, Man United.
Oh, yeah.
And Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you were going right. That's interesting. I'm going to go with the same bottom 3.
So what? So it was who?
United, Sheffield United, and West Brom.
Yeah,
I think that's guaranteed now. I'd be very surprised if that changes. That would be a miracle. Someone's going to have to do really badly anyway. And I'm going to say Newcastle as well. Top 3, I'm going to say City, United. I'm going to say Leicester.
Oh, that's big. Fair play.
At the moment, even with their injuries, they're still sort of getting the right results. So I mean, they can't get any less injuries than they've got right now. Let's be honest.
I think it will be between Chelsea and Leicester.
Yeah,
I can't see Spurs getting in there. Liverpool, you never know with Liverpool. They could just turn it on. Then the next 10 games, they could win all of them.
Yeah, well,
let me go for mine so we can come back to it another time.
Yeah.
Sheffield United, West Brom, Fulham.
Of course, yeah, that's not surprising, is it?
Well, all right, calm down. It's my choice. And then we've got to go for City, Chelsea, United.
What, Chelsea are going to get second? Or is that...
Yeah.
Interesting. So you think Chelsea are going to beat them?
As well.
Yeah, I'm well, funny that I'm the man for big calls, boys.
I mean, I can't see United letting go of second now, because then it would just be a big loss to them, really. And Chelsea...
See how they played the other night against West Ham, mate?
Yeah, but Chelsea are 6 points behind United.
No, that's nothing.
They're going to have to jump out.
10 games to go.
It's a long way to go, man.
United are playing well, so...
Well, we're going to be discussing Champions League and top four, sort of in more depth next week on that episode.
Hopefully,
Obviously,
Luke Shaw gets injured.
Bloody hell.
Fuck me.
Luke Shaw. Why Luke Shaw?
Because he fucking, that's all he talks about.
Yeah, but I thought you meant
the best left back in the league at the moment, Sam.
I thought you meant as in Luke Shaw's the one that's going to stop United's run of form. I thought you meant that, oh yeah, if Luke Shaw gets injured, they ain't getting second. I was going to say, fucking hell. Obviously, there was some football since our roundup on Sunday. We had United West Ham, which you just touched up on, Sam. What did you think of the game, boys? Did you watch any of it? Or, I mean, if you missed it, then fair enough, because it was one to miss. It was pretty dull, to be honest.
It was shit.
Yeah, considering it was a game in the top four, both teams fighting, I just found it a bit bland. I mean,
do you know what player I really rate from Man United this season?
Oh, who?
McTominay.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I just think he just dominates the games. He just controls them from that midfield. And when he doesn't play, United don't look the same team.
That's interesting because a lot of United fans
shout from Shaw and McTominay. Your shouts are just incredible. No, it's just, if I spoke to someone else and who do you like from United, I guarantee there'd be the last two players that come out of their mouth.
Do you know what as well? It's pains me to say it as well. That Henderson's the keeper's a baller.
Yeah.
Both their keepers are worth a lot of money. We were saying this the other week.
Yeah.
Like Henderson and De Gea, what do you reckon you could get for both of them?
I'm not sure.
Henderson, I think Henderson should be the number one.
Yeah, he should be.
I think he'll go if he's not though.
Yeah.
There was rumours that I think Spurs were in for him.
Really?
Why?
Yeah,
where's Lloris going?
Lloris is dog shit. That's why.
He is dog shit.
Yeah, but there's a lot worse keepers out there.
But they're now competing, aren't they, on all fronts apparently. I'm
wondering if they're going to do you don't want to do what Chelsea have done. They've brought another keeper in and they've got a 65 mil keeper just sat there watching.
I mean, I would rather have Henderson or Pope over Lloris.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
That's not a bad shout, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, as we were talking on the game against West Ham, it was just a bit bland. Lingard was absent for West Ham. I think they rely on him a lot already. He's only been there a short while, but you could already see that he weren't playing.
Messi
Lingard,
yeah. He weren't dancing on Old Trafford anyway. But basically,
just going on that, going back to the Watford link, Craig Dawson looks like Sergio Ramos in that West Ham defence. When he was at us, he was awful.
Yeah, I saw some fan that I've got on Twitter. He tweeted and said, "I'm so pleased for Craig Dawson," and it just made me look back to how far Craig Dawson has come. And I thought, what the bloody hell is he doing in a West Ham shirt? Unreal, unbelievable. Honestly,
he's only on loan, but they can keep him.
Yeah, he's quite old now as well.
If he's doing that well, they're probably trying.
How old is Craig Dawson, do you reckon? Yes.
Got to be 30.
Yeah, so his wages can't be cheap. He's been in the league. We've been in back and forth for the Premier League, so who knows? Obviously we had Liverpool Wolves as well. To be honest, on that point, the game was just as dull as one another. I was quite happy for Jota, to be honest, because I quite like Diego Jota. It was a good return for him. He got the goal. It's good to see him back in the team. Hopefully he'll sort of be the flair that Liverpool need. I doubt it. I think it's too little too late, to be honest. They just need their actual big upper gun, shall we say, to start coming and maybe get some players back from injury. Who knows? We saw an injury from Patricio, the goalkeeper. Obviously, just touching on that, there's been a lot of head injuries this season. The higher and above have supposedly decided that they're going to make something to put a change in the game to avoid it from happening. What do you boys make of that?
It's this rule change, isn't it? I've got to be careful how I say it because I'll keep fucking it up every time I talk about it. But so, what I was trying to say last time, I'm so careful how I say it because I don't want to fuck it up. I think the rule
will benefit the defenders.
Because from what you're seeing, is a lot of the times that the defenders are going, they're seeing the flag going up. Obviously, the whistle's not going. So they're thinking, if the linesman's called it, then they're automatically going to do it. And if it goes in anyway, it's always going to get checked.
Yeah. Well, it's the late flag as well now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. They should just go back. They should just go back to how it was. Put the flag up, blow the whistle, offside, and then if VAR want to check it
after,
they check it.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is with it, I suppose, though, but that's the same for everything, isn't it? With a goal, everything like that, they'll be checking it every single fucking time. But if they have to add 6 minutes every game, then they're gonna have to until they find a way of speeding it up.
It's like you said, though. I mean, just in terms of, say you're a striker, right? Say you're Patrick Bamford, 6'2" or whatever the hell he is, and you're up against a 5'10" centre back, and these new rules have been put into place. Yeah, you're going to be like this each time. You're going to be so hesitant to even go near the ball. And with VAR, a lot of people are not hesitating to go near and head the ball in the back of the net, but it puts people on edge already. Do you not think if they start putting these rules in play to protect the players, yeah, I get their safety is best interest, of course, it always should be, but how many rules can you put into a game before the game just comes to an end?
The game's gone anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get how you.
That's one of the good things about playing the Championship. There is no VAR.
Yeah. But they're saying that because of these head injuries, because there's been Patricio,
Jimenez, sorry to jump in.
Jimenez, another
that will change.
What's that?
With the VAR in the Championship, surely they'll have to introduce that next year or something like that. Surely, or is it just the top flight in every league?
Well, I'm assuming it's quite expensive to put VAR in a ground.
Yeah, so but say, for example, do you remember we spoke about this briefly last on the VAR discussion and stuff like that? I think it was Dave that touched on it. Do you know, right, you're famous, you know, when you went up, you saved the penalty and then went up the other end and scored.
Yeah, how that could have not happened, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So when things are on that much of like a knife edge and so much is on stake, they're surely going to have to start introducing it.
Who knows? But like again, I said that it must cost a lot to put VAR in a stadium. So you have someone like, I don't know how much. So
Luton.
Wickham one. No, I'm not gonna keep on picking on them scumbags. But like for example, Wickham, can they afford to put all that VAR system in there? Probably not. Because then if you go to the Championship, then you've got to do it for League One, League Two.
Yeah.
And we know Stevenage definitely can't afford. They could barely afford to put a stand up, let alone put VAR in.
We could have Alex. We could have Alex Rebel on here. We could have Alex Rebel on here. He's going to be watching it. He's going to be just slandering all of us. We're just sitting here, completely slating our own town. Oh. But yeah, you're right. I mean, but in terms of like the head injuries, we saw Patricio, Jimenez has also got one. Another Wolves player. They've all had similar injuries. We've seen it a lot this season, and they're sort of talking about getting something into play to stop these injuries from happening. To me, it's just impossible.
I don't get what they're going to do. Yeah.
What can you do?
You can't. Yeah, you can't.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm some 6'2" striker, but I know for a fact if I was playing football and I was told, right, this when you had the ball, you got to do this. Fuck off, mate. Do you get what I mean? It's just like it's the game. You know, you're there to play ball. You're there to play football, and you know what risks you're taking when you step out on it. But yeah, we'll see. You know, if it happens, it happens. In terms of Wickham, which you touched on, it's no surprise to see them dropping straight back down to the League One, is it? Because they're obviously at the bottom of the ranks. They only just got promoted last season. The only reason I remember is because I remember Akinfenwa's interview so well.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. He was like I've never seen such energy and atmosphere in a Wembley win in all my life.
You didn't go to the Watford Wolves game then, mate. That was atmosphere.
Yeah. I got to admit, like Watford fans. I mean, I've been to Watford with you, Scott, twice actually, to the Watford Liverpool, and then I think it was Watford Leicester.
Yeah,
and like I've got to admit, touch wood to that, you've got a good fan base, and it's local, so it's quite good as well. It's quite up the road.
Yeah, we saw that Emre Can overhead kick. Do you remember?
That was it. That was fucking class goal. That was absolute. I tell you what, if there's any goal I want to see live, it's that. It was class, and you had the team then and now, even not just the Liverpool team, the Watford team then and now is completely ridiculous. You had so many different players then. Like, I suppose, you know, that's just what happens because you've gone Premier League, out of the Premier League. I think you've had 2 relegations since then, if I'm right.
No, just one, mate.
Just the one. Oh, I'm being too harsh on you. But we'll wrap it up. Obviously, we're going to be back next week for top 4 and the Champions League discussion. Scott's got his own little show out, which is 11. So make sure you have a look at that on our YouTube channel. And we'll chat to you guys soon. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, mate.
See you later.